5 difficult plumbing business lessons. Let's talk about it.
I'm Kenny Molotov, licensed plumber, professional magician, and entertainer. On this channel, I go through the ins and outs of my career in plumbing. I take you through a day in the life and we talk tools, theory, and mindset. I'm trying to give you an arsenal of knowledge and an online resource so you can take this trade head on and find yourself successful on the other end. Click subscribe, hit that bell notification, and let's talk pipes.
Peeps, Kenny Molotov. Check out MolotovPlumbingAcademy.com for courses that are specifically designed to help you succeed in your apprenticeship. And also do me a favor, join our newsletter. That way you know when we got content coming out to you and also new courses in the near future. So I wanted to tackle something that is particularly important in my life at this very second because I own my own plumbing business and the past year has been extremely challenging and I learned a lot of really crucial lessons and I wanted to pass those lessons along to you because I think a lot of you out there are interested in opening up plumbing companies. So if I can give you a little bit of knowledge on the way in, I think that would be really useful to you. First thing that I got to say is that in the past year, what I have done is I've completely gone on my own. I've taken that leap of faith. All the plumbing jobs that I'm currently getting are generated from my own plumbing company. So I'm in the thick of it right now. I'm learning how to price jobs. I'm learning what time management looks like, especially for a plumbing business owner. I'm learning the entire office side of a plumbing company, which is how to do the books, how to keep up to date with insurance, those sorts of things. And on top of that, I'm trying to bring content out for you all so that you have a resource that you're able to lean on when you're struggling in your career or you're just curious in your career and that sort of thing. And the first thing that I learned this year and the hardest, most difficult plumbing lesson, one of them, is it's going to be okay. You know, in the past, I'd say 12 months, I have dealt with a couple of scenarios that were extremely uncomfortable. And I'm talking about in a plumbing sphere. And in those times, I remember like I felt like the entire world was collapsing. I didn't know if my plumbing company would be able to handle it. I was very afraid of the other characters that were in those stories and were making things uncomfortable. And I felt like, you know, people were gunning for me and all those uncomfortable feelings took place and I just continued to do more work. And as I continued to do more work, I came to realize, okay, it's gonna be okay. You know, it's gonna suck and you're gonna have to feel uncomfortable, but at some point, the dust is gonna settle. And I wanted to remind that to you. Everything is temporary. Bad times are temporary. Good times are temporary. The wind is going to change. Your sail will not have any wind in it 1 minute, and the next minute you'll be cruising along. I need you to remember that. And I say this also to remind myself, listen, crappy things happen. You meet some awful people. Sometimes people do things that are inappropriate and they shouldn't do it. You're afraid that's going to happen again. Then you realize, okay, look, we're all human. We all suck sometimes. We all say things we shouldn't say. We all do things we shouldn't do. We all have misunderstandings. It's gonna be fine. Worst comes to worst, you can walk away from the job and just say, look, I can't do it. I'm sorry. If you lose material, but your mental health is saved, good. You know, if you lose a job and your sanity is intact, good. You have to remember mental health is a very large portion of your ability to be able to do your job, especially as a plumbing business owner where you're taking on multiple hats and you have multiple responsibilities. So your sanity is first and foremost because at the end of the day, when I put down my plumbing hat, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm all those things. And I still have to maintain those jobs, you know, because that's what those are. Those are my obligations. But keep your head down. Do everything in your power to keep your cool, because a cool mind solves problems way better than a heated mind. And just keep moving. Keep moving forward. Apologize when you do something wrong. Pat yourself on the back when you do something right. If you're in an abusive environment, get the hell out of there. And kiss and love everybody that's important in your life as much as you can. And it's gonna be okay. The second thing that I learned as a plumbing business owner, which was a significant lesson for me, is that you are in sales whether you want to be in sales or not. This is a very hard lesson for me because I personally do not enjoy sales. I don't enjoy the idea of me having to convince you that you need something. That's what I think sales is. I think salespeople, and I hope this isn't a bad painting of what a salesperson does, but I do think some salespeople, their job is to create value in something that you never saw before. I don't enjoy that process. I would much rather you know you need something and me approach you after, or you approach me and say, how much is it going to cost for this thing that I need? But I want to tell you a couple of things that I learned within the past 12 months that were really special to me. There were 2 occasions where I went out to job sites just to do a free quote. And I quoted the jobs and I walked away and I didn't hear from the customer for 3 or 4 weeks. I was under the impression the customer had gone with somebody else. I was under the impression that I lost the quote, I lost the job, it wasn't mine sort of thing, and that they found somebody that they were happy with. And then I got an email or a call 4 weeks later saying, hey, listen, I'm still interested. Can we talk details? And this was very shocking to me because I know for a fact they got multiple quotes. And in one of the circumstances, they told me I wasn't even the cheapest quote. I was somewhere, I think, in the middle. So it was in those moments where I got those jobs and I finished those jobs that I kind of sat back and I said to myself, oh, I guess I am in sales. And the reason why I came to that conclusion is because there was something that I had done in those scenarios that made them comfortable enough to come with me. And the money ended up funneling to me and the work ended up funneling to me. So there was something in the conversation that I was selling, even though all I did was go there, look at the problem that they had, tell them the solution that I had for it, and then formulate a price, send them an email, and then walked away. Do you know what I mean? That interaction that I had was sales, even though what I looked at it as was, I guess I was doing an investigation for them. Like a quote is somewhat of an investigation. You have to figure out what they want, and you have to try to see if you can manifest it for them for a price that they're comfortable with. And it was especially when I found out that I wasn't the cheapest quote that I was like, oh, okay. In a sense, I'm the product. And when that kind of kicked into gear, I went, oh, I'm doing sales whether I want to or not. I just wasn't looking at everything as sales, but in fact, it's all sales. I'm just not paying attention to it. So those were very special moments, and in those moments, I kind of realized, like, I'm already doing sales. I might as well put some effort into it. So there have been other opportunities where a customer approaches me with a problem, I solve it, but I realize that they have a certain amount of anxiety about something else. And then I approach them with, listen, if this is really bothering you, we have an option here. We can do this sort of thing. And that for me is obviously sales. It's saying to them, look, I can satiate this fear of yours. We can do something to fix this. And that's something I'm trying to do more and more. If I find that a customer is longing for something, I will do my best to let them know that there is an option for it. And here's what that option is. This is what it looks like. This is what it costs. This is how long it would take, etc. The third hardest lesson that I learned in the past 12 months is that for a period of time, you're going to have to be comfortable not having a lot of money. And the reason why I say that is because I don't make 40 hours a week. Unfortunately, it is very hard when you're not making 40 hours a week to kind of put that out of your mind so that you can keep your head in the game. I find that there were moments in time where my anxiety goes up so much because I know I'm not making much money that, you know, it kind of takes you out of the mind space that you have to be in. You have to be in this mind space of like, okay, how do I get more money? How do I secure these jobs? How do I find more opportunities to get more work? That sort of thing. And if your mind is dealing with anxiety, you can't be that person that can solve those problems of those issues that I just described. So you're going to have to be comfortable with the idea you're not making a lot of money. And it's something that I've grown to understand. It's something that I am working on and I'm dealing with. It's also why if something solid comes my way and I know I can make $300 that day, I'm going to take it because I have no idea what's going to happen the next day. You know what I mean? I have no idea if that job is going to come in, if that quote is coming in. I have to sit here and push through this until we have enough work coming my way that I don't have this anxiety anymore, sort of thing. The flip side of what we're talking about here is at some point it's going to be so busy, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx myself. At some point it's going to be so busy that I'm going to feel like I don't have any time for my house. Those are the two flip sides of the trade. I've been doing that with my father for the past 9 years. So it's not something new to me. I understand the two sides of companies, but currently I don't make a great deal of money and I have to be comfortable with that until the ball's rolling really fast. You know what I mean? Fourth thing that I learned is that you're going to have to take certain risks, and these risks are necessary. So I'll give you an example. I got a call from a couple of contractors that I had never worked with before over the past 12 months, and they were telling me about their issues, and it was a job I was definitely capable of doing. So I went out and I did these jobs. And the thing is that when you're working with somebody new, you're really afraid because you don't know if you're going to actually get paid for the work that you are promising and they are promising to pay for. So there is a moment in time where you kind of sit back and you say to yourself, you know, this person can ghost me. And if they ghost me, I have no recourse. I have no way of getting that money from them. Aside from maybe a couple of emails, am I going to be able to prove that I did the work? Am I going to be able to prove that I worked in this unit with this contractor? And if this contractor decides to disappear, I mean, there's not much I can do. You see what I'm saying? So I'd be out a couple of $1,000s. And God forbid if it was a much larger job, I'd be out way more money. So those are scary moments, you know, and those are risks that on the one hand are necessary and on the other hand are terrifying, because the last thing you want to do is lose money, because that money will inevitably go to your family, right? Like the whole point of the money is to be able to feed people. Those are risks that are necessary and need to be taken from time to time. And you know, taking down payments and a certain percentage up front is a good strategy to kind of buffer this anxiety. And that's probably what I'm going to be doing going forward. Other risks that you need to take, you need to be willing to kind of stick your neck out. Try something new. Sometimes a customer will ask you to do something that's not really in your scope of plumbing, but you know you can handle it and you'll make some more money. So you're like, okay, let's go. Let's do it. I'll do it. There's that. Just approaching people, approaching other companies, contractors, you know, having conversations with them on if we can help each other out. Business, unfortunately, inherently is a risk. The funny thing is if you don't take this risk, you can't be successful in business. If you don't take this risk, you will never be successful in business. But even if you take this risk, you are not guaranteed success in business. But for every successful business, they had to take the risk. That leap of faith of like, no, I'm just gonna try to do this by myself, be on my own, try to get this work done. That's how that works, you know? The fifth most important lesson that I learned, and I'm constantly grateful for, is that it is much easier to take on this risk of opening up a plumbing company when you have people behind you that have your back and believe in you. It would have been way more difficult if the people that are depending on me, my wife and my child, if they didn't believe in me, if they didn't think I was competent enough to be able to handle this, if they didn't also say, hey, we can do this, I think life would be much more difficult. It's not an easy road to be a plumbing company owner. It's not butterflies and flowers all the time. A lot of times you are waking up on Sunday and you're thinking to yourself, I got 0 calls for next week. 0. I got nothing lined up. Fingers crossed as something comes in, you know. And then come Monday, you get 4 or 5 calls, and then you're like, holy smokes, I have to figure out where I'm going to put all these calls because they're all emergencies for some reason. When you have somebody behind you that's saying, do it, go, we can do this, let's go. That is, man, that's your rock, you know. That's somebody that's your ride or die. That's somebody that's got your back. That's so crucial to this game, because if you got somebody behind you going, what are you doing? You can make money way easier. You could just join a plumbing company and make 40 hours a week. What the hell are you wasting our time for? We're trying to be fed, and there's shame involved, and they're making you feel guilty for chasing your dream. If that happens, oh, dude, it all crumbles very quickly, you know what I mean? So it is imperative, you know, written into this conversation, it's imperative to have people that have your back, to be grateful for them, and to keep them in your lives and find more people like that in your life. It's so important. That is everything. If you can do that, man, you're creating a team, you're creating a bond, and you got to treat them as well as they're treating you. You understand? You can't just take. You got to give. That's the game plan. All right? You got to remember that. You got to reciprocate that, because love needs reciprocation. Those were the 5 hardest plumbing business lessons I learned over the past year. They were very profound for me, and there are things that I still work on. It's going to be okay is something I gotta tell myself all the time. Being in sales is something I'm in, even though I don't want to be. You got to be okay not having a lot of money for certain periods of time. You got to be comfortable with taking certain amounts of risk, and you got to keep the people that are behind you and are clapping you on, you got to keep them real close, and you got to keep them happy. You got to let them know that you love them. You cannot chase this dream without that infrastructure right then and there. You know what I'm saying? And then the big promise is that God willing, if we're able to make this happen, we provide resources for those people. We provide opportunities. That's what we do. The money's not At the end of the day, the money's not for us, right? It's for the people we love. It's for getting resources for them. Peeps, thank you for watching. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below and that bell notification so you know exactly when we're getting videos. Smash that thumbs up, share with friends, and I'll see you plumbers very soon. Candy Molotov, guys. Peace, baby.